Hello, today I'm going to show a new feature we introduced into AuraPlayer, into the Service Manager. The feature is fast integration with MCS and Max. With this feature, we automatically create YAML and implementation files to be imported into MCS, and by that we create automatically endpoints, resources, sample data, and schemas. So it would be really easy to create Max application from Oracle Forms web services. Okay, the first stage in that process is to create web services. Here you can see web services we already created. We're going to create in this session two resources. One is going to be customer, and another child of that object, which is orders or order. For every resource or every object, we created 5 web services: get all, get specific one, create new, delete, and update. You don't have to create all those web services, but it just in this example, I'm going to show a full cycle of all the options for every object. Moreover, I did some other stuff in every web service. It's not mandatory, but it's just to make things easier and nicer. I checked the use labels as keys in the advanced tab. So every web service would have nicer name. The input parameters would have nicer name. The labels would be used as names, as input parameters, so it would be more readable in MCS and in Max. The other thing that I added is validation on the response. When we create new object, the measurement of success is that you have FRM 4400 in the status bar message. So by adding validation to the status bar message, I'm making sure, or I'm notifying the consumer of the web service whether it was successful or failed. Okay, now we have all those web services. The next step would be to go to Integration tab and create new resource. The first resource would be customer, and you can see I can set it a parent or not. In this case, it doesn't have any parents. And we have the methods. I can choose to implement all methods, and that's the default, or I can uncheck some of those methods and not implement them. Let's go next, and here is the definition of every one of those methods. Let's start by getting all. I should choose the web service, and this is the web service, get all customers. We can see here the sample response request data, and when I click on get response, it would call the web service and return the response data as a JSON. Now, AuraPlayer response contains much more data, but we know that it's a get all method, so we filter all data and show only the array in the response. Okay, let's go next, and we have get customer by ID. The first stage would be to select the get customer service, and then we have to select the ID. According to it, we're gonna call the web service. In this case, it's customer ID. And let's click on get response. And again, as before, we know that it's a get, not get all. So AuraPlayer automatically filters the data that is relevant to the element. Let's go next. We have create new customer. Let's select the create customer, and let's enter the data. I want to create customer ID 233, get response. Next, we want to update customer, again by customer ID, and let's update 233, get response. When we call get response, again we get the response sample response data, and we get we create schema from that response. Now let's call delete customer. Delete customer, and by customer ID, and delete the 233. Okay. By that, we created the customer object, customer resource. Now let's create another object. We're talking about the order. And the order, the parent of order is customer. Let's go next and get all orders. You can see here, by the way, the endpoint URL. Okay, let's get response. We get only the list, service get order by order ID, and next. Let's do create new order, and next. Let's filter the response, not to have all those fields. I just want to see the service element content, and that's just the order ID. Let's go next. Now we have to update. Request ID would be order ID, and let's select the same order. Next, and delete. Let's delete the same order. Delete order by order ID and 71. Okay, now we're done. We have resources defined, well defined, and we have the web services. Now we have to pass all this data, or the resources to MCS and create API using that data. Let's use export API. We have to set it the name of the API, and we have to set the connector. The connector needs to be created in MCS prior to doing that. So I already have a connector called connector 27. Let's export. And when we export, we get a zip file. We download the zip file. Let's open this file and see what we get in here. In this zip file, I just unzipped it. We have two things. We have RAML file and we have implementation file. AuraPlayer provides the RAML and the implementation, so everything would be smooth. So let's go to MCS, go to API, and create new API. We need to drag here the RAML file. I'll just drag here the RAML file, and let's add here automatically created by AuraPlayer. Great. With the RAML, we create all the endpoints for MCS. We create the schemas, and we create the sample data. We're going to see it shortly. Now, I'm going to add also the implementation. The implementation is on the back end, calling AuraPlayer's web services from MCS endpoints. So let's go here. Again, drag the implementation files. Okay. Now we're done. We have API. If we want to see the API, what we have in that API, we can go to the methods and see, for example, here on this post, we have sample data, sample schema for the request and for the response. Okay. Now let's publish it and test it, and then go create Max application. Okay. Okay, AP demo, publish. Let's test a couple of web services. Let's test the get by customer ID. Let's enter 206, test, and see that we get expected results. Yes, we do. Okay. So we have fully functional API, and now we should go and create mobile app. Let's go to mobile app section, and let's create AP demo application. Go next, next. That would be customers. Once you log in, you'll get list of customers, and it's going to be a list. And then we're going to see the details of those customers. Let's add data, and we're going to make it like that. The resource that we're going to add is AP demo. We just created that, and customer. Go next. The data that we're going to present, it's going to be customer name. We're going to have rating at the end and customer ID. Let's see the live data. Okay, that's the live data got from the sample data in the RAML. Now let's add detail. File, next, that would be details, and it's going to be summary of that customer and orders of that customer. Next, next, and let's go to detail page. On the summary, we're going to have a form with all the customer details. Let me just add all fields. Let's see, live view. You can see full fields of that customer. And in orders, I'm going to add a list of all orders. Again, let's make it this form, order, next. We're going to have order ID, pay type, and total. You can see it's going to look something like that. Next. And that's it. We have Max application. Let's test it and see it against real data. Every time now it's going to go to the server and get the data for every one of those customers. Let's try 212. We get data, and let's go to orders. It's going to the server and returns every time the real orders of that specific customer. Let's try another one. Let's use Unix port. I have here that data and orders. Those are the orders. Okay, thanks.